Should you use cash or a whole life insurance policy to invest in real estate, or perhaps to invest in your business? When it comes to cash, most people are familiar with this, and it's what most people do. I build up cash in the bank account, and then I use that cash to make investments, which produce a high return for me. And then I take the investment income, or if I buy a piece of property and sell it, I take that money and throw it back into my bank account. And the hope is that it will continue to grow larger and larger, and I continue to make more investments there. However, when I look at the idea of a whole life insurance policy, this attracts a lot of individuals. And there are a number of reasons why, but when I directly compare the two, often what attracts people, aside from the tax benefits, that's a big one, but a big driver is the fact that once money passes through the cash value of a whole life insurance policy, it's always compounding for me. So for example, if I have $100,000 in cash value and I elect to borrow $50,000 against that policy, I will continue to earn dividends and interest compounding on the full $100,000. Now there's more to it. There's loan interest that we do have to account for. But often the compounding is what attracts people. One looks at it and says, okay, I can flow money through the policy, borrow against it, make my real estate investments, and if I put that money back into the policy like I would put it back into my bank account, I see it restored, plus all of the interest over the years. So I'm not losing time. That's what attracts me. However, over the years, in working with individuals, I noticed individuals that take out larger policies. When I say larger policies, 7 figures per year as to what they are paying into a policy, or conversations with individuals who are considering paying in 7 figures per year into a policy. Often what they want to see is a direct comparison, which is exactly what we're going to go through in this video. Now, when I say a direct comparison, what I mean is looking at a bank account and saying, okay, if I continue on with my exact strategy, I pay money into the account, and then I take withdrawals to invest in real estate or my business, whatever it is, and then when I eventually sell the property, I put money back into my account, and I continue that pattern. Compare that for me, Steve, to using a whole life insurance policy, but make sure that it's apples to apples. And what I'm referring to, I'm speaking as the consumer, is the loan interest, because I do have to account for the loan interest. And if I'm going to pay loan interest on a whole life insurance policy, that's a cost that goes to the insurance company. So what I want to look at is, well, if I'm paying interest to the insurance company, what's it look like, to be fair to the bank account strategy, if I took that interest I would pay to the insurance company and instead pay it into my bank account? Or what does it look like if I don't pay the loan interest? How much does that negatively impact the compounding of a whole life insurance policy? In summary, individuals often want transparency, and often they just want the numbers to be clearly laid out so we can see everything and then make an informed decision. So let's take a look here. We're going to look at a direct comparison. We're going to go through the numbers and such. This is based on an actual case study from working with an individual, but we'll start with a bank account. So in blue, I've got deposits. This represents money I'm paying into my bank account. Then in green, I've got my account value. I've got my $sign here, and then also interest. So the bank account will produce interest. Right now, at least as of the date of shooting this video at the end of 2022, rates are lower. Typically, we'll see them range anywhere from, call it 0 to 3%, depending on who I am banking with and how much I have in the account. But I will earn interest there, and if history tells us one thing, that'll go up and down over the years. Then I have withdrawals. This is money I take out of my bank account. Now, here's one thing I want to hit on. If you've got a bank account and you have $1 million in there and it's earning 2%, not much, but let's say it's earning 2%. That's what? Over 12 months, $20,000. If you elect, however, to withdraw $500,000, that's money you pull out of the account, and then what happens? What do you still earn that 2% on? Only the remaining balance, which in this case would be $500,000, because I pulled out 50% of my account value. So what this triggers is referred to as a lost opportunity cost. Money that I withdraw from my bank account is no longer earning interest. Now that has not been really painful at all over the past several years, for a long time now. because bank accounts haven't really paid much in interest. However, I do want to note that in this particular example, because this is something we lose with a bank account or any taxable account where we take withdrawals, and something we gain with a whole life insurance policy. We'll get to that in a second. To get back on track here, we've got the lost opportunity cost, but what we're doing is taking that money, call it $500K, and purchasing real estate in this example. That real estate, A, produces income, which is a return on our money, or we sell it at some point in time, hopefully for a very large return, and then refill the bank account. So that's the strategy of investing in real estate with cash. Perhaps you're partially financing as well. A lot of people will do that, where maybe this $500,000 is a down payment for a $2 million piece of property. We can spin it however we want. But let's compare what we just went through there with the bank account to a whole life insurance policy. So in blue, we have deposits, but we will refer to this as premium and PUA deposits, because this is what we are depositing into the policy. PUA represents paid up additions rider. This is the key to accelerating the cash value growth in a policy. The ideal design with whatever dollar amount you're paying into the product is to push that base premium as low as you can and maximize the PUA rider. That'll maximize your cash value, especially when you look at the guaranteed values. Then we've got the cash value here. You can look at this instead of the account value. This is the money we have access to, and is also the money that's compounding for us. Now, we'll always see a dividend interest rate, or we'll have a guaranteed rate and a dividend rate with most companies, as most companies have paid them for a long time. However, the dividend rate is never what we're actually earning. What we want to look at, the terminology used in the insurance industry, is IRR, which represents internal rate of return. Net growth rate is how I like to explain it, and to shoot things conservative, I might see it fall somewhere between 3 and 5% over the life of the policy. In the early years, that will be negative. You're going to see that in the example we go through. Next, we've got a policy loan, which we'll look at instead of withdrawals here. This is money we are borrowing against the policy. Think of it as money out. Now, here's the advantage to a policy loan. We're going to go through an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that there's no lost opportunity cost, unlike a bank account where I have that lost opportunity cost. So that results in constant compounding. When I take a loan against that policy, I'm still compounding on my entire cash value, both the money remaining in equity and the borrowed funds. However, what will offset that is the fact that I have loan interest, and that loan interest is paid to the insurance company if it's a direct policy loan, or the bank if it is a third-party loan. This would be an example of this would be a cash value collateral loan, which involves me taking my policy, the cash value specifically, assigning it as collateral to a bank, and then they give me a line of credit against the cash value on that policy. It's a strategy that a lot of people will exercise. It really depends on the individual. There's pros and cons to bank loans versus loans from the insurance company. But regardless, the loan interest is a cost when we look at it there. So what I'm doing is taking that policy loan, purchasing real estate, and then that real estate is producing income, which is a return on my money, or I sell it, hopefully for a larger return, just like I would with a bank account. Then I repay the loan and my money is restored. Cash value is fully restored to what it would have been as if I never touched it in the first place, assuming it's non-direct recognition, which you can check out any of our videos on non-direct or direct recognition if you want to understand the differences there. But here's just a quick overview of the differences. Here's what we're going to look at in this case study. So this is based on an individual who actually laid this scenario out just while we were talking, not specifically the 5-year funding scenario, but he said, hey, can you just kind of put everything on paper for me? What does it look like if I continue to use a bank account versus a policy loan strategy? And what do the numbers show as far as which strategy is in my favor, both short-term and long-term, which is important to look at. So what we're going to look at here are initial deposits of $1 million per year for 5 years. That's a total of $5 million. And the plan for this individual, he owns a business that's doing very well, really, really sharp guy. He wants to aggressively fund the policy, keep doing what he's doing in business for another 5 years. He could go longer, but at some point in time, he may exit the company. So what we looked at is funding a policy for a short period of time with the option to keep going. But what we'll look at here is whatever funding we look at regarding the policy, which is over here, we're going to match that as far as money going into the bank account. This way we've got an apples to apples scenario. So if my plan, as far as what I want to fund a policy with, is $1 million per year for 5 years, a total of $5 million, well, let's see what it looks like if I just get $5 million into my bank account, and we'll call that my floating balance that will earn interest over here, and I'll use this as my bank, being a bank account, to invest in real estate, or if I look at a policy as an alternative. And again, down here, we've got the option to continue to add funds. Let's look at a quick example on this, then I'll come back, because this is important. So here we have a detailed illustration. $1 million per year for 5 years. There's the net cash value, about 90% in the first year. Positive by the 4th policy year, meaning he's paid in $4 million. He has more than $4 million. After the 5th year, he pays nothing in. Then we can look at this guy, which is the exact same policy. You'll see identical values through the 5th year. The only difference is if he keeps on funding the policy for another 5 years. So he's got the option to continue feeding the policy if he wants to. Same thing with the dollar amount, a lot of flexibility there. The minimum premium in this example is $100,000, which means he can pay anywhere from $100 up to $1 million per year. So a lot of leeway in the payment flexibility as well, which is very important. And then we've got a side-by-side comparison here, which makes life much, much easier, doesn't it? There's your break-even point between years 3 and 4 in this example. And this is based on regular preferred. If you received ultra, it would be slightly stronger. Let's go back. So what we're going to look at as we compare everything is cash in and cash out and making sure they are equal. So what I mean when I say that is everything circled in blue here is money going into my bank account or money going into my whole life insurance policy. I've got premium and PUA deposits. This would be the same as cash deposits into my bank account. I've got loan repayments. This is money that I am directing toward policy loans. So if I borrow against the policy to invest in real estate, for example, a loan repayment would be money that I'm paying toward the life insurance policy. Over here, this would be depositing money that I have withdrawn before. I'm putting it back into the account. Then this one's big, and it is sometimes neglected, but it cannot be if we're going to look at a fair comparison here. Loan interest payments. So if my plan is to pay the loan interest on my whole life insurance policy when I have a loan outstanding, well, to be fair, what I need to make sure of is that I'm taking the money that I would pay in loan interest to my policy, and if I stick with the bank account strategy, take those interest payments and funnel them into the bank account. My point here is any money in and money coming out, I want to be identical in both of these scenarios. Because what I could do to make the whole life insurance policy look more favorable is to say, hey, if we pay the loan back plus the loan interest, look how much more money you have. But then I would have technically dished more money out of pocket toward the policy. I'll show you with a visual very, very shortly. But that's money in, money I'm paying toward the whole life insurance policy, and then this is money out. Money I take in policy loans or withdraw from my bank account. So what we'll look at here is as follows. First, we'll examine the growth. Meaning if I just pay money into a whole life insurance policy or just pay money into my bank account and let it sit and grow, what do those two look like from a comparison standpoint? And when do I have more money in the bank account versus more money in the whole life insurance policy? And then we'll look at using the policy. So let's begin with number 1, growth comparison. So here are the 2 whole life policy options side by side, funding it for 5 years and also funding it for 10 years. So let's look at a growth comparison first. And what we've got on the left is our bank account. Let's put this in green, cash. All right. What we've got on the left, deposits, $1 million per year for 5 years. Then total deposits, $1 million over 5 years is a total of $5 million. Then we have account value. Account value, first year, is $1,020,000. Reason why it's an additional $20,000 is because we applied a 2% interest rate. Rates are fairly low in bank accounts right now. We can increase this, so we can adjust it upwards as the years pass, as this is a pretty simple calculator, but it is adjustable and the values will adjust accordingly. But at 2%, annual growth represents the interest rate, but in dollars. So the first year, if I paid in $1 million, let it sit and grow for 12 months at 2%, I'd have $20,000 in interest, and there's my total gain for the first year. As time passes, if I look at year 5, I've paid in a total of $5 million. I have $5.3 million, assuming 2% continue to compound every year. So I've got a $308,000 gain. Not bad. Okay, now let's compare that to a whole life insurance policy. First year, $1 million goes in. Here's the biggest drawback. Right here, especially when I compare the two. This is a high cash value policy, meaning expenses are minimized. First year cash value is just over $900,000, which is a $100,000 hit, no matter how I slice it. So that's the hit in the first year. I've got a sizable death benefit, but a $100,000 hit. The internal rate of return in the red, just under negative 10%. Taxable equivalent, I'll go through that in a minute. But if we look at the yearly cash value growth, this is the IRR, but in dollars. And then I've got the total gain on cash value. And then the far right displays cash value difference. This will represent how much more or less I have in cash value directly compared with the bank account value. So when we look at this policy further, let's look at year 5, because that's when the funding stops. You've paid in a total of what, $5 million? And you have almost $5.2 million. The internal rate of return is picking up as far as the yearly growth rate. However, when I look at the total value, about 5.2, this tells me what I need to know, negative $117,000. Why that reads that is because I have $117,000 more in my bank account at the 5.3 compared to what the whole life insurance policy has by year 5. By year 6, however, we make no payments. And what do we see? Well, now we see the policy has $15,000 more than what the bank account has, continuing at that 2% compounding. And what you'll see over time, that policy is just going to continue to pick up the pace, and it is very attractive. When you look at banks and bank-owned life insurance, they make large deposits into bank-owned life insurance products. Often what they're looking for is a safe area to park money that they actually see a strong crediting rate that is AAA rated as well. They don't want to take on any risk. So that's how they view BOLI in many cases. Hey, where can I position money? And if banks are doing it, looking for an area to position their money, that tells us a lot if we're just comparing it to a bank account. But let me get back on track here. So last thing I want to hit on here while we review the growth is the taxable equivalent. So this individual is in a 40% tax bracket. So if we look at, let's look at year 10, paid in $5 million, 6.5, I'm at $6.5 million in cash value, and the annual IRR, which isolates the net growth rate in year 10, it's about 4.79%. When I look at the taxable equivalent, it's at 7.98%. Call it 8. What that tells me is if I instead put this money in a taxable account, after the taxes are accounted for, in my tax bracket of 40%, my net growth rate would have been 4.79%. So this is often where you'll hear people ask, do you feel you can get 8% without any risk, being that a life insurance policy is a safe place to position money? Some say yes, some say no. I don't really like that question because life insurance has a place like every other asset class out there as well. But anyway, this just provides a side-by-side comparison if I park money into my bank account versus a whole life insurance policy, and I can see everything without touching it. Now let's look at using it. Let's begin with the bank account. So what we've got here on the left is what we just saw, parking money and letting it sit and grow. On the right, exact same thing, but you'll see 2 columns to the right. And I've already got them populated here. Let's unpopulate them. Perfect. So why don't we do this? Year 2, let's take $1 million out. And what I want to do is this. Look at total deposits. Year 2, in the example where I don't touch it, is $2 million. Over here, it's $1 million. The reason why is because year 1 I paid in $1 million. Year 2 I paid another $1 million in. That brings me up to 2. But then I withdrew $1 million, which leaves my net input at $1 million in this example. So my account value is $1,060,000. And let's do this. Let's take out a total of $4 million, which leaves my net deposits at what? $1 million, because I paid $1 million in the first year. Next 4 years, I paid in $1 million, but also withdrew $1 million. So I'm left over with a net of $1 million. And by year 5, the actual account value is almost $1.2 million, $2 million, based off the 2% earnings. Then let's assume you put that $4 million into some property and you pay it off, let's say year 10, which you don't have to because it's a bank account. So when I say pay off, I mean you sell the property and say, okay, I want to get my total deposits back up to $5 million in my bank account. So what happens here, I'm at $5.3 million. So remember one of the drawbacks to using a bank account, if we go back to that whiteboard, over here, this term, lost opportunity cost. So when the money is not in the account, the $4 million we pull out, what happens here is that it's no longer earning 2%. And an easy way to demonstrate that, look at this. If we don't touch it, it's worth 5.8, getting close to 5.9. Over here, we used our money. Then we eventually put it back, and it's worth 5.3 million. So over $500,000 in a difference there, and that's a result of this being outstanding and not earning the 2% interest rate. Now, the whole point of this is I can put it in real estate and earn a lot more than 2%. So I would have probably paid more than $4 million back into the account. But the purpose of me highlighting this point is to state that why we have less here is because we're not earning the 2% on the money outside of the account, which leads into the point of attraction with the whole life insurance policy, where I continue to receive that compounding. That's why I highlight that. I know if you're investing in real estate, you're going to do better than 2%. All right, so let's look at a side-by-side. You know what? Why don't we first do exactly what we did, but with the policy. So here, we've got the policy on the left. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.